part of it, from my standpoint, I wouldn't look at these products as a way to make money for the town, because who knows how long that would take. I would be more pleased with it because it would be an extra benefit for public safety. The batteries, if it's similar to the speed sign that we have that everyone has seen, those take a large battery, car battery, and they usually last 3 to 4 days. Depends how fast people are going and how much traffic's going by. No, I don't know if yours are going to be solar, but a lot of those signs have solar and battery.
So the ones we look at are not solar.
They're just battery. That's all.
Ron?
Just wanted to remind us, I think I heard that the grant requires an affirmative vote, so if we vote at 0, that's not exactly an affirmative vote. So the benefit of voting down is to take $5,000 from signs instead of giving $2,500. That's a good benefit. If you vote at 0, if you vote for 0 funding on the warrant article, you will not have an affirmative vote, and therefore you can't get a grant, and therefore you pay $5,000. If you vote down, you don't have an affirmative vote. Right, so the point of the 0 vote is to not buy the last suggestion made is, why don't we take it out of our operating budget? Ordinary budget instead of having a warrant article. I'm just saying, if we want the signs, the warrant article should be voted for so we can save some money.
How about capital
No matter
reserve?
the funds, if it comes out of his operating budget.
How about capital reserve?
Okay, Elizabeth?
We had originally written this so it said further authorize the selectmen not to purchase, but we thought you couldn't change the wording of the actual article, so we took the not out. I can add the not in. Is that true?
What you can't do is alter an article to wording that doesn't mean anything in either.
So I can add not to that, but I don't know if that's
think
legal.
the way that it was amended is the proper way to amend it.
Yes.
I think the article, your amendment is proper as it is,
Okay.
as it's submitted. Ma'am. We have quiet in here, please.
My only problem with that is, years ago, we had a post sign that said road closed. I called Gloria because I was stuck on that road because that sign got stolen. Now you're saying it's a portable sign. How easy is that to be stolen? So, $2,500 when we had a post sign that got stolen? I'm not for it.
Further discussion? Mayor moved the question. And seconded. Been moved and seconded that we move the question, that we end discussion on the amendment to Article 19. All those in favor of ending discussion, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, declare that an affirmative vote. We'll now reopen the amended Article 19 to discussion as amended to $0.
Second.
I'm sorry, I didn't take a vote. I'm sorry. To see, I will now take a vote on the amendment. Article 19, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $0 to purchase 2 electronic signs, and of that total, authorize the selectmen to apply for and accept the grant to cover $0 of the cost, with the remaining $0 to come from taxation. All in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? No. Okay. I declare amended Article 19 to debate. John?
Last there's a real safety problem for kids going between the school and the library and so on. That part of 123 is a mess. I think this sign could be used a great deal of the time to, just as an extra sign to get traffic to make sure it slows down and realizes I can't stand that section.
Ira?
John's got a point, but we have police officers out there directing traffic, and which takes care of the school area and the road, doing a hell of a good job. So we're paying a salary there. We have got firemen, that goes out on the calls, when they do go out on the call. We had I think it was $27,500 that we paid for firefighter salaries. So, we got other avenues to work on, and that's why I'm against
Stand up, look at these signs. Marcello, do you remember the size of the sign?
Are they as big as that piece of paper? That one there, no, that one is one, they're smaller.
See that sign behind you? See that one sign behind you?
About 3 or 4 times the size of the speed limit, radar's working up.
There he goes. Nat or Joel, can you just put it in perspective? $2,500, what does that do to us in our taxes? Because a lot of concern is the taxes, and we're haggling over everything. So what does $2,500 cost us on $100,000?
Well, off the top of my head, I can say $178,000 is a dollar tax rate.
That's great.
So 2,500 is some small percentage of that.
For all the lost girls, all that.
Angie?
Motion to move. Second.
Moved and seconded that we end debate on the amended Article 19. All those in favor of moving the question, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? By that affirmative vote, we'll now take a vote on Okay, so we will now vote on, to see if the town will vote to raise an appropriate sum of $0 to purchase 2 electronic signs, and if that total is authorized the selectmen to apply for and accept the grant to cover $0 of the cost, with the remaining $0 that comes from taxation. All of those in favor of placing the amended Article 19 on the ballot, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? No. Bear that affirmative vote. Article 20, shall we adopt a provision whereby the governing body or budget committee shall establish the base budget for fiscal year 2014, not including warrant article, to be raised by local taxes in an amount of $1,510,000, approximately the base budget for the 2012 budget year, not including warrant articles, by petition. A 3/5 vote is required. This is not recommended by the Board of Selectmen. This article is an addition to warrant article 2 of the operating budget. We have been advised by the town attorney that this article is not legal. Ira?
Yes, I move we amend this to 0.
We have to have a motion before we can amend.
Yeah, make a motion.
Yeah, you made
I make a motion.
I move it be placed on the warrant as read.
This section is in our.
Now,
Now
gotta amend it because it's on the petition.
Mr. Moderator, can this be removed?
That's the problem. No, I believe it has to stay on the subject matter has to be on the ballot. The intent of it can be changed, but the subject matter has to stay on the ballot. Just wait, Steve, let me just, wait just a minute here. I have a motion, I have an amendment that's been offered. Did I have a second? Amendment. Okay, been moved and seconded that Article 20 should be amended to the sum of $0. But I think we want to think carefully about what we're doing.
You said you could change the intent.
Yes.
Can we just, shall not adopt a provision? Can we just leave that rewording instead of?
Right, that's
By a petition,
Well, by changing it to 0, we're saying that our budget is going to be 0. That's not what we want to say.
no, you've already got the budget.
Right, so let's change it to the 1,477,180.
No,
Linda has to say first.
the town attorney said that the only way you could do this is to zero this amount, because this goes away in essence, this whole thing. Otherwise, if people voted for this, and 3/5 went through, you'd have this 1,510,000 on your ballot and theoretically added to your budget. So you'd have the 140, whatever we voted, plus this. So you get rid of it by changing it to 0, which Ira has done. He called me and asked me, and that was what I got from the attorney.
Move the question.
Bruce. No, because it has, every warrant article has to be on the ballot. Steve.
Mike Perdue, this was an illegal article. Why wouldn't the petitioner know? And so that's not even be put on, this was illegal. I mean, we're allowed to put an illegal article in the warrant?
Joel will speak to
I'm
that.
happy to answer that question. Petitioners are in fact allowed to put anything they want on the warrant, whether the language is good or not. I think we can move smoothly through this because the intent of the petitioners is met, I think, quite adequately by Article 20.
Chris?
I'm still puzzled, and I wonder if the petitioners or a representative of the petitioners would explain what the intent of this article is. Yeah, but how does this do it?
Why don't we save that discussion for number 21?
You actually go with the budget override. You want to 0 the step. Right.
Tom.
The intent of this was to bring the budget from the $2 million range back to $1.5 million. So as was interpreted from the RSA, we thought the wording of this was appropriate and would work. When it was submitted to the town, to the selectmen, they sent it to an attorney. And the attorney said that this is not a legal petition, that it wouldn't pass, even if it did, it wouldn't hold water. So that's why they didn't approve it, and that's why they're saying what it is. Because the language that we used that was in the RSA from the state of New Hampshire was inappropriate for this action. So what our intent was to say mea culpa, put a 0, and just make it go away. And the attorney said if we put a 0, it will have no effect because the budget is up in a different, it's number 2 on the, so that's the precedent. This is to modify what was, that's all.
So this doesn't replace the 1,600,000 whatever.
No.
As the default budget.
No, it can't. Nothing can replace the default budget. The default budget, no matter what number we put in that we'd like to see next year's budget, it would always say, if this is defeated, the default budget kicks in. And that can't be changed.
So what do you want to do now?
Zero it, as Ira said, put a 0 on this, because the attorney said that's the way to handle it.
Okay.
Sharon,
A few years ago, I don't know if you remember, but the last warrant article was cut off on the ballot. The first few words of the petition or the warrant were put on the ballot, but in essence, the entire warrant petition was just cut off. Can you do that with this?
no, since that time, the state legislature has passed a law saying that we can no longer remove the subject material from a ballot article.
It was actually that incident that prompted, because we weren't the only town that did that, towns all over the state did that, and it was that actual warrant article that prompted the legislation that changed the rule. Yep. Fair question.
One. Moved and seconded to move discussion on Article 20 to move, and discussion of the amendment, proposed amendment. All in favor of ending discussion on the amendment, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, an affirmative vote. I will now take a vote on the amendment. Article 20, to see if shall we adopt a provision whereby the governing body or budget committee shall establish the base budget for fiscal year 2014, not including warrant articles, be raised by local taxes in an amount of $0, approximately the base budget for the 2012 budget year, not including warrant articles. All in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? I will now open the amended Article 20 to further discussion. John?
Well, I had a lawyer tell me to put 0 in here, I would definitely get a second opinion. My first thought, I was firing a lawyer. I read the English, it doesn't, I just cannot understand how he makes that judgment. And I think this is a very dangerous thing to do. And if I were you, I think we should have an amount of, say, $99 billion and hope that the people of Alstead I read this, it makes sense. It says $0, not including the warrant. I understand it, but I think changing it to 0 is a terrible mistake. Because if you read the English with the 0 in there, it just scares the hell out of me. I would get a second opinion before voting.
I think. John?
To help settle your minds about this, I did go to a session in which this case was brought up as a prime example, and to make you a little bit nervous about passing it at all in any dollar amount, we would be required to fund not only the existing operating budget, but this. So if both went through, we'd be paying, what, $1,500,000 plus $1,400,000 for our operating budget. That is the assessment of the Government Association and the DRA, that they would come down pretty hard on doing that, because the way this is worded, you can't, this does not, well, that's just the way they said it would be. So zeroing out was actually the advice that was given to us by the Government Association.
Darren? Darren?
Darren Honey, my concern with this is that people that read ahead, often as I do, they'll come to this first. And if they vote for it, people that are not here, they vote for it, they may not be inclined to vote for Article 2. Whereas you have Article 2 being the default budget, they're ultimately voting themselves in a tax raise.
Sharon?
Could the dollar amount be taken out instead, could the petitioner change it to read, shall we adopt a provision whereby the governing body or budget committee shall establish the base budget for fiscal year 2014 to not exceed the base budget of 2012? Can they take out the 25?
The opinion up here seems to be no, that would not be appropriate.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we end discussion on the amended article number 20. I will take all in favor of ending discussion on article 20, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Affirmative vote. I will now take a vote on the amended Article 20 to see if we will place on the ballot Article 20 to read, shall we adopt a provision whereby the governing body or budget committee shall establish the base budget for fiscal year 2014, not including the warrant article, to be raised by local taxes in an amount of $0, approximately the base budget for 2012 budget year, not including the warrant article. All in favor of placing the amended Article 20 on the ballot, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? No. I will declare that affirmative vote. Article 20 will go on the ballot with the sum of $0. Article 21, shall we adopt the provisions of RSA 32.5-B and implement a tax cap whereby the governing body or budget committee shall not submit a recommended budget that increases the amount to be raised by local taxes based on the prior fiscal year's actual amount of local taxes raised for the base budget, not including warrant articles, by more than 3% or $60,000, whichever is less. Like petition, 3/5 vote required, not recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 1 yes, 2 no. Do I have a motion? Tom?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Okay, moved and seconded that Article 22 go on the ballot as read. Do I have discussion? I'm sorry, 21. Tom?
Yeah, this is something that I was involved with. Did some research around the state. Manchester implemented a tax cap a number of years ago when they were suffering some pretty significant increases in their taxes. What it did and what this is intended to do is to require those people preparing the budget, whether it be the selectmen or a budget committee, to work within a 3% cap. Now, it's been stated that our base budget's only gone up 2%, so that should not be a significant issue for the selectmen or for the budget people. But I think it guarantees us that the base budget will not go up more than 3%, and it will force other items that people may want into warrant articles, so the things that we're spending are more transparent. So we're able to see more of what's in a budget than maybe we currently do. One of the comments in one of the meetings I was in was the striping of the roads could either go into a warrant article or could go into the base budget, depending on how they wanted to treat that, either the selectmen or the department heads. At a 3% cap, there wouldn't be so much that debate. They'd have to expose more to us. We would understand a little bit more about what's going into the budget and how we're spending our money, and it would just guarantee that we would be presented a budget that had a cap of 3%. Doesn't mean that we can't increase that budget at the time that we deliberate. It just means that they have to think about how it is they're going to spend our money, our tax money. and it just gives us more involvement in that process. So that's the intent of the warrant article. I mean, clearly, everybody does a great job in this town, but with money as tight as it is, and people wanting to get more involved in how their money is being spent, this is something that actually helps us to be more involved and requires that budget to only be raised a maximum of 3% or $60,000, whichever is less. So $60,000 would be the max it could go up, 3% would be the default number to go back to. So whichever is less, 60,000 or 3% would be what we would get in a presented budget. And then we can deliberate on all the warrant articles and do it what we think is good for the town and help the selectmen to better run the town.
Now, this could be adjusted anytime the voters felt it would be necessary. So in other words, we could say at some point down the road, that 3% isn't working for us, or the 60,000 isn't working for us, we might increase it to 80,000.
It could be, yeah, I mean,
4%.
just like we did here, you could do next year, you know, but you know, this is on next year's budget, not on 2014, it'll be on the 2015.
Matt would like to speak.
Yeah, first I want to thank Tom for the time and thought he's put into this idea. When he brought it to the selectmen, my initial response was, yeah, okay. And I've put a lot of thought into it since. And I don't favor this. And the reason why, the best example of the reason why is what happened in this room today. What we need in the town, in terms of town government, is participation by the citizens, which we've had way too little of for the whole time I've been selected. I mean, this meeting used to draw 60 people. And 60 people cannot possibly represent the whole town. And we've talked about it in this meeting years before, that this doesn't represent the whole town. This does a much better job of representing the whole town. However, there are over 1,100 registered voters in this town who could be in this meeting participating. And this is the answer to any problem that Tom sees in terms of controlling the budget. The best job that the selectmen can do, any selectman, is to read as best they can the desires of the community and build a budget that will be accepted at the vote. The budget we presented was the best we could do with the information we had. With the series of meetings we've had in the last several weeks, we know lots more than we used to about what the citizens of this town think is important and what we're willing to pay for services, and which services. This is the answer. I don't believe the answer is to create a budget. We don't have a school board representing Alstead, a school board representative representing Alstead at the school board right now. We're looking for somebody to do that. He just won't do it. So anyway, this is my idea of how a town functions well. When a lot of people are paying attention, a lot of people are caring, this is so much better than bitching to each other at the dump, because that's not productive. This is productive. This meeting has so far cut out $344,000 out of the proposed budget. We have said for years on the select board that we are happy to administer whichever amount of money is appropriated to provide whatever amount of services that money will provide to the citizens. This is the point. This is how it's supposed to work. Congratulations to us all. We do not need artificial limits to bind future boards of selectmen in terms of the budget statements. The needs vary from year to year. And this is how it works. This is how I hope it will continue to work. I hope we will all be perennially in the future more involved than you've been in the past, and to be part of this process. Because the selectmen do not sit on top of the town deciding things. That's not how